Honourable Member, Honourable Minister for Civil Aviation will say prayers this morning.
Lord, we thank you for this beautiful day. Thank you for this beautiful country. Thank you. We ask for your forgiveness. We ask for your wisdom, knowledge, and understanding as we go through this session. And we pray that out of many, you have selected us to be your representatives into this house. Also, we say thank you that you bless us with abundance, resource, food, and other things. We want to thank you. I pray and commit every one of us into your hands and pray that you will guide and help us through. Also, we thank you that you have been very good to those who believe in you. We thank you for the missionaries. We thank you for your good news that is still here for us to hear your word. We thank you. We also thank you that this country, at least every corner of this country, knows you, heard your word, and some are very faithful followers of you. We pray that you will continue to bless them. And pray for those who do know you but do not follow. Help them to follow you too. Thank you. We put everything today into your hands, and the prayer that you have taught us covers everything we want to pray. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen.
Honourable members, this morning, you may like look sabe. You got some the line, or stop one me, lo public gallery, and more Sumatin. Grade 7 Sumatin belong, na all teacher belong, lo hola demonstration primary school, lo National Capital District. You may get 2 or 30 Sumatin, I think, only talk. Now teachers belong AOG Jubilee Institute, the Higher Education National Capital District. You may got 2 all citizens in the country who are all staff of public gallery. We have the parliament. We extend him warm welcome to the Petitions, notices. Clerk.
Notice. The Prime Minister gives notice that he shall present a bill for an act to amend the Prime Minister Act 2002.
Honourable members, ask him to talk for 5 minutes now. Honourable Governor Morbe.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My series of questions, before me ask him, last time I take him floor, also looks a member blow Kundia Wagembogem Kambek, welcome back Laos. Namibla look forward to work quantum na people longem. Mr. Speaker, last week Parliament raised him a series of questions as to the recruitment process deployed by our good Department of Defense. These are follow-up questions, Mr. Speaker, and as a matter of protocol, when the Minister responded, he requested for a letter. I have deployed a letter to his office, raising all the questions me asking last time. My series of follow-up questions are as follows. Mr. Speaker, last week, and I quote the Defense Minister when he said, when we bring this kind of information to this respectable house, we must and we need to clarify and verify those information. As such, I've taken the liberty over the weekend to verify my statements as well as the facts that I thought I raised in these questions. And unfortunately, Mr. Speaker, the facts remain the same. Therefore, I ask this series of questions. Minister, last week you said, and I saw in several media, that we engaged an independent HR firm to run the selections, interview physically as well as medically, including all the tests necessary. My first question, since the independent firm did the selection and the verification, who recommended the engagement of this company to the Defense Council? Was there a request for tender sent out? What was the criteria in selecting this firm? Or was that done online as well? Question number 2. Minister, can you clarify, as per my research and search with IPA, the company that was engaged, which is now public media, Labour Solutions Limited, has been deregistered for non-compliance. Is this the same firm that was engaged to do the online selection, meaning we engaged a deregistered company? Question number 3, if the process is too important and we had to get it right, why didn't we engage international reputable companies through this scheme? My other question, since the fact that we engaged HR firm to do the recruitment, Minister, as you raised through you, Mr. Chair, and the issue of an individual which the Minister claimed to be a third-year university student from UPNG. Mr. Minister, I can now confirm that student is a first-year student, and the record now, Mr. Speaker, as some of us hold in our hands through our phones, I think, is that this student is using multiple IDs. Is not the student claim. His name is different, his birth certificate and everything is different, and the name he used to enter the force through the recruitment process is totally different. Minister, how many recruits were accepted outside the official list shortlisted? Is there a separate list that was included? How did individuals with different identities pass through the supposedly secure recruitment process? Can you confirm whether there are any recruits have multiple identities, which is now identity theft, which was approved for the entry? Can you assure this House, Mr. Speaker, that the recruitment process has not been compromised by any other forces outside of the required force for this recruitment? Minister, further, will you immediately suspend all questionable recruits pending a full investigation? Will you halt all recruitment and training process until the matter is resolved in the interest of transparency and accountability? Will you refer these cases of impersonation and irregular recruitment of persons required under PNGDF regulations, including individuals you mentioned, to this floor? Will you support the establishment of an independent judiciary or review through the Defence Council into the recruitment process? Mr. Speaker, having gone through the list of the recruits that we accepted, which we will train and deploy as defence individuals in this country, from the short list there appears to be a misalignment or discrepancies between short list and the accepted list. Minister, can you assure this House as to what process was employed or used to allow individuals that were not on the short list to be in the final intake. And Minister, I don't want to call names here of certain individuals that are listed who have not been in the shortlist. Mr. Speaker, my second last question. By the list of candidates that are officially accepted, there is a huge discrepancy and an imbalance between candidates that are accepted for each region and province, which in the national interest is not good. Mr. Minister, through you, Mr. Speaker, my last question, will we stop the intake because these individuals, can you confirm that these individuals, if we accept them now, will be deployed, these 300 persons will be deployed in the general election next year? And this is a serious concern for us, this honourable House, as well as the people of Papua New Guinea. Now, final one, Mr. Speaker, can the Minister apologize to this House for misleading us as to the information he gave us last week? Thank you.
Honourable Minister for Defence.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to thank the good Governor from Morobe once again for asking these follow-up questions. I also thank you for writing to my office those questions, and I would also like for him to add the long series of questions that he has asked today, together with those, so that I can do a parliamentary statement with regards to all these issues. But last week, I responded. In my response, I did give out some information, and I want to state that at the time, I did give information that I know was true, as provided to me by my department. And as such, I don't think that there is a place for me to apologize, because I said in good faith, and those information were factual and provided to me by my department. With regards to the
In regard point of order, Honourable Governor Bloy Civic, when a point of order Bloy.
The minister's statement actually raised consternation even amongst former commanders of the PNGDF and the general public. It is the most debated subject at the moment. The half-truths and the falsehoods that the minister had told on this floor. Now, he needs to apologize not just to the members of the parliament, but also to the PNG public, Mr. Speaker. Ministers cannot be telling lies on the floor, particularly when they create massive discontent in the community, especially the minister in charge of our national security, Mr. Speaker. So he needs to apologize.
Honourable Governor Bloy Civic, point of order Bloy, in order, Thomas. Suppose you like, whenever you can raise him supplementary question, any minister na raise him this like issue. Minister will answer him question and will talk him by working paper. Na me provide him any come of floor, you may have him gain all response and all this because Governor of Morobe, and me ask him series of question yeah, short plan long la through. Now this plan. So me ask him Minister of Defence, go ahead na answer him all. Ask him become Governor of Morobe.
Mr. Speaker, I also meet Pinis, all information been given along here, along Parliament, and all information we may be got. Na department give me long and me talk. So no God need lo me lo apologize lo this plan. Lo question long Governor Blo Morobe, this la issue, nuclear issue. Last time, defense recruitment been come up in 2021. Now, same kind of complaint, allegations, and stuff. Therefore, only stopping recruitment. For the last 5 years, been got defense recruitment have been stopped. Time we come inside, government is talking Mipla must got 7,000 active force by 2030. Right now, we have 2,950 active force. I need to find 5,000 plus, which we need to recruit. And so, work and Mr. Bosen, big work. Now, time you complain, kind of same. How by me reaching this target? while at the same time the attrition rate is really high. People are leaving the defense force. So work a misstep, need a misstep. Los habla criteria and we took finish. Time we come in, we decided to find a way to make this happen. And we have come up with processes and protocols and policies that we thought that will help us.
You got another point of order, one point of order, I believe, Governor of Long and Northern Province.
I think I just want to add that some very serious allegations were presented here with apparently evidence. The Minister can simply make an undertaking that these matters will be seriously investigated. We understand that we need new recruits, but it's about the process that's followed in recruiting these new recruits. We want to ensure that it's transparent and it's done in a proper legal manner. That's what the question was, I believe. So if the Minister can just make an undertaking and then bring forth the results of that investigation report and table it here in the Parliament, that would be appropriate. Thank you.
Honorable Governor of Long Northern Province, point of order, believe, by one kind of sema. Governor of Long Civic, you can debate. Now, by you member, you debate him, Minister. You like him, you ask him question can. Behind him this law, supplementary na this law. Now, time you may walk low entertain him or point over there, all honorable members. You may all kill him that time, yeah. Point of orders after point of orders. You raise him. And we talk by me, come up in paper and I walk him, and that's the time where you may debate him. No flow. So Milarim, Governor Blonga, Minister of Defense, you continue long. Answer him question, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm trying to get there, but I'm just trying to give a background information as to why this recruitment is very important for Defense Force. And so the criteria we put him in here, me making. It is something that we have put in place to make sure that this kind of complaints does not happen. And that's why we got an independent HR firm. And how was the HR firm selected? It was brought to Defense Council. There were 3 of them. And we selected one. They know several all too. Whether they are deregistered or not, that I don't know. At this stage, we'll find out. And that we'll get the administrative team to find out and report on that as part of the response that we will be giving on the floor.
The chairman of the Defense Council, he should know. So instead of, I take from the governor, Jufa, instead of responding, give us a paper in writing so that we all understand, because this is a national concern. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Governor, point of order, you and me are right, Lord Display. Honorable Minister, I think there was a series of questions. I mean, Governor, you ask him, and plan the long blood too much, so good long you can answer him in writing, bring him come. Now, all members, all can look him, harim, you make and save.
Mr. Speaker, what I was trying to say was that I don't have that information right now. So as part of the response that I'll be giving with this question and a series of questions that he asked last week, I'll put it together and respond. But I'd like to assure the House and our country that an investigation has been ordered. If there are people who have been through Golden River Training Depot by shortcuts, we will not entertain them, Mr. Speaker. We have strict protocols that we have put in place to make sure that only those people who qualify and who meet that criteria end up in Golden River Training Depot. If someone has made any shortcuts, those people will be removed. And as part of that, I have instructed that an investigation be done, and the result of that investigation will also be tabled. That also includes the regional balance and the provincial balance in the current recruitment, as well as we want to look at all the defense, 3,000 plus active force that are there. We want to know where they come from. And if there is any regional imbalance in the next recruitments that we do, we will try to make sure that it's balanced. And also I want to announce that from here on, we will be making sure that the next recruitments that we do will have grade 12 school level forms filled and will recruit directly from our secondary schools and school of excellence in our country. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Member of the Yalibu Panga.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you. My questions are directed to the Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, these questions relate to many of the contracts worth billions of kina being awarded under the Connect PNG program. Mr. Speaker, last 2 weeks ago, the chairman of the Public Accounts Committee presented a report of status of 14 contracts worth around 2.5 billion kina, which the report stated very clearly that the payments of 10% of mobilization funds were paid to these contractors, but delay in the full implementation of the project itself, Mr. Speaker. Now, that raises a lot of questions. Mr. Speaker, can the Prime Minister inform this Honourable House and our country what is the total value of all the contracts, now from 200 million kina to over a billion kina contracts that are being issued to many companies, various companies around the country on these projects? The total value, from what we understand, now exceeds over 10 billion kina, and this country deserves to know what is outstanding, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, second question is the terms of the contract. Are these contracts, as the Prime Minister and, of course, I think the Minister alluded to this Honourable House earlier, that these contracts will cover many budgets in the future, annual budgets in the future. It will be funded through budget, but over the next few years. If that is the case, Mr. Speaker, what is the terms of the contract? Is it 2-year contracts or 3-year contracts, Mr. Speaker? Or is it a 10-year contracts, because the amounts are quite large? And given the fact that, Mr. Speaker, last year's budget, only 1.6 billion kina was allocated for this program, and only 800 million kina was allocated for maintenance of this program, Mr. Speaker. So it will be very interesting to find, Mr. Speaker, how the terms of these contracts are. My third question, Mr. Speaker, is where is the funding coming from? Is it entirely on the budget of our country? And if that's the case, if the contract's terms are short to 3 years or 2 to 3 years, I fear that the value of these payments will be quite large. How is he going to fund the shortfall if he is going to fund it through budget, Mr. Speaker? My fourth question is on procurement, Mr. Speaker.
But she interrupted you, Pastor. Now, me asking you this all series of questions you will ask him. I stop this one notice blame number 203, Permanent Parliamentary Committee, this Public Accounts, Connect PNG Inquiry Report. Now, suppose this fly me questions in relation to this report, I stop in I stop now the paper whereby you may come na debate him. I stop it, this but so semi outside this then you can ask him.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Question below me, I'm outside this report. Me making reference to report law number of projects na valuable projects that's all. Me no debate law report below Public Accounts Committee. So, okay. Mr. Speaker, fourth question below me law issue below procurement. Mr. Speaker, I have not seen any visible advertisements on the contracts that are being put out there for public to bid for these projects. I understand that the procurement is done through the Connect PNG Act. If that is the case, Mr. Speaker, how are we selecting the contractors? And Mr. Speaker, and how are we managing these contractors, Mr. Speaker? Mr. Speaker, we all know Department of Works has capacity issues, and it will be interesting to know how we are managing these projects, because some of the contractors are doing substandard work right throughout the country, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, again, on fifth question is about transparency of the implementation of the Connect PNG Act, Mr. Speaker. I asked the Prime Minister, my fifth question, isn't that our Public Finance Management Act and the Tenders National Procurement Committee, and isn't that sufficient to manage these Connect PNG projects rather than having a duplication of the Act so that we can justify giving contracts to favored contractors, Mr. Speaker? I asked the Prime Minister whether there is any duplication, because some of the roads that we are now giving contracts to are national roads right throughout the country under the so-called Connect PNG Act, Mr. Speaker. My seventh question is, I also understand that some contracts, whether it's true or not, can the Prime Minister confirm this, is being issued under the COVID Act, Mr. Speaker. The COVID Act is only established for the management of COVID issues in the country, and why is that particular act continues to be inexistent? Mr. Speaker, if that is the case, can the Prime Minister give this Honourable House the assurance that he will repeal the COVID Act so that there is no abuse of this, Mr. Speaker? My seventh question, Mr. Speaker, is on the issue of conflict of interest, Mr. Speaker. Some of the contracts that have been issued under various Connect PNG and tax credit and other has certainly been issued to political cronies, political associates, and relatives, Mr. Speaker. I asked the Prime Minister, how is he managing the issue of conflict of interest in respect to these contracts? And, Mr. Speaker, my final question is that we understand in the previous sessions in this Honourable House, the Prime Minister committed to an audit, independent audit of the Connect PNG program. Now, I understand that that audit has been concluded or done. When is he going to table that report to this Honourable House? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable Prime Minister.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Pastor through me like to thank you, Lord. Member Yalu Pangia, ask him 8 question relate to issue of walking road na bridge law country blimi. Mr. Speaker, first question, how side you may walk in this road na one value long contract is stop outstanding. Me like talk also this government will like bridge in stage 1, stage 2 block Connect PNG finish because of popular demand and need them pull up is stop. Stage 1, stage 2, and stage 3 block Connect PNG all in all, it run up to 20 billion kina program. When we like Kisim government of 2019, we realized we must connect all parts of country to open up our country, making sure all the people living participate in the economy. Me like giving you one example, Mr. Speaker. Before September 16 of last year, time we drive from Kupiano Golong, Alatau. 66 times we stop along the way. And in every stop, our people from Kupiano, Bam Village, Margarita, Cloudy Bay, Amazon Bay, Golok Gaidasu, where the Million Bay leadership is welcoming me. Only Hamamas, for the first time, all can drive from Alatau, Kamloport Mosby. At the present stage, and of course the commitment went out, that a better road is still coming. This is the first stage of the road. To do 1 kilometer of road across our country costs on average 3, 4, 5, 6 million kina. Can assembly you yet, Mr. Speaker, you clear. Now you may running road from Loringau, you go in the spine of Manus, now you may go him upside the Drauke. This road and by cost him that 120 kilometers of road will cost us total more than 400 million kina. You know, Mr. Speaker, we have to cut. In kissing Western long, either long Ley or Madang or outside the mainland, kissing by ship, you can tap long Manus or making this road. So the cost of these roads are very expensive, but we were resolved. We made a full commitment that we must, no matter what, get to attend to all roads that needs to be built for our country, especially that they should unbundle the economic potential of our country. Mr. Speaker, the roads are issued under multi-year. You make a forward contract, multiple year you start long one contract. So this year you use him, next year budget must pick him up, following year budget must pick him up. One contract, you got one contract lifelong all in a multi-year approach. The Public Finance Management Act, the National Procurement Act, National Procurement Commission Act, one-time Connect PNG Act. These triple law, they speak to each other. And they all embrace the multi-year forward contracting law, all this road immigrant. So underneath on stage one, around 7 billion kina worth of contract you supposed to give him. But because again, also me talk, plenty happy, need him road yet, especially where agriculture potential is sleep, or DY potential sleep, or oil and gas potential sleep, or mining potential sleep. Make him talk picture. Tete now you may walk him road, but cross him Ley, come to Keraman, and come into Port Moresby. This road will pass through 3 types of economic potential of the country. Upside the Morobe side, and by Abrusim cacao ground, Abrusim coffee ground, come through Miniama, pass through Wafi Golpu area, and come to Gulf side. That road right now we're doing passes through the wildebeest and will all feed into the Papua LNG area. So in one project, we're just not randomly doing projects. There's economics value attached to it, and these roads should anchor be the spine of this economic activity. So first question, Blogan talk one valuable contract, give him finish. Now one number stop it, Mr. Speaker, good luck question. We'll get the works team to put a full report to us. But also we talk finish the public accounts committee making work. We have much long chairmanship long, honorable member long Talasia. And it's a bipartisan, you got all members of opposition to staff in such a committee. The report is already live in the hands of this parliament. And we will pick this debate up again when we sit again. As we pick him, the country and everyone must fully analyze the scope of work. You work him finish, now you must work him yet. Whether this government come in or next government, whoever comes in after elections, I just want to offer our council this multi-year approach where you may give him finish, you may still finance him yet. Eventually in time, we should have over 20,000 kilometers of road in our country addressed. In terms of some second question, Brian, I'm asking in terms of contract, also me talk, multi-year contract you may give him. And plenty all these overseas contractors, especially the Chinese state-owned enterprise and Chinese contractors, because it's you got one aspect of contract only works tender long and two. Let me call him advance payment, or forward payment rather. Me talk English like this blah. I have to ask works reply to us. And simply mean contract people give him, you make him work, now people pay me behind. So or deferred payment, thank you, DPM. Deferred payment. You do the work, we give you contract, and we catch up in paying you in time. So that's a good volume of contract, especially the large contracts, because the overseas contractors have the ability to do work, and we catch up with them through the multi-year payment arrangements. Also, third question, where is the source of funding? 5.6% of our budget every year is for roads and infrastructures as we reach the ceiling of stage 1 Block Connect PNG. Now only selected few, especially key missing link. Also Karamui, Ramu, Antablonga, Rotgolonga, where Kumbukari mine stop na, Golobasiamuk, Raikos area. Few of these key crucial missing link, about 3 or 4 plus stop yet. Once we reach the level, I'm now stage 1 and the selected block stage 2 and finish. So in about 4 or 5 years, if we consistently pay them out, we should be sufficiently cover almost 70-80% of the stage 1 and the selected stage 2 of Connect PNG. So the 5.6% element of our budget, as well as we're deploying certain areas where resource projects are, infrastructure tax credit scheme attached to financing those projects, as well as selected roads, especially in our urban areas and main Highlands Highway, we earmarked for a lending facility. If the Treasury team look into what could be secured through lending, within that envelope of 5.6% that of the annual allocations that Yumi talked along, then those combinations of financing should go towards really ticking off the major road arteries we want to have be done in our country. Mr. Speaker, number 4 question, blogan emi talk. All got a tender finish on Ogat. Mr. Speaker, he knows and I know that every road that we issue through the government house must have been tendered. So I will like give him talk this 100%. All got a contract we like give him tendered through the due process. Works Department tendering. State Solicitor, you give him clearance blogan. Finance Department give him APC clearance blogan. So one office is also Works Department. Works Department tender, establish stage 1 or stage 2. Then you got State Soli clear him, Finance Department clear him, and so go through the due process, and of course Government House. So seal him off one time contract. You must say use him. Me like number 5 question block enemy talk about transparency. Again, as I said, the full range of offices that deals with it. It is not exclusive for Works Department. You got the full range of government agencies, finance, state soil, works, they all go through the process. When it comes to cabinet, cabinet, we are fed with just the 3 contractors that is finally being shortlisted through that process that was run earlier. Whoever the short list are, we discussed them in cabinet. And I think number 7 question, how do you disclose conflict of interest? In cabinet, Mipla got one section only call him in every decision Mipla take him. I've initiated this under my watch. In every decision that we take, if there's a conflict of interest situation, then the minister concerned, or Prime Minister of the day concerned, we declare our interest, we step out of cabinet, and then cabinet discuss on this matter that is presented, whether it's contract or otherwise. So we do declare our conflict of interest if there is conflict of interest situations. But again, cabinet, last plus stop or second last stop. The entire process below MIPLA, Works Department, through the tendering process, state soil, organized clearing, come to MIPLA, sit down on some last stop, look, before I'm going down to Government House for signing. Number 6 question, I'm asking Connect PNG Act. I don't think Connect PNG Act is being used for these large-scale procurements. That I could give assurance. Connect PNG Act should have been made redundant. If it is not yet made redundant, then this Parliament would be. I beg your pardon. COVID Act. COVID. Yeah, I beg your pardon. COVID Act. The Pandemic Act. Pandemic Act. I think the question was asked on the Pandemic Act. So I don't think these contracts are being issued under the Pandemic Act. And if the Pandemic Act is still alive, then we will make redundant this act at the very earliest. And lastly, he asked on the audit. This government is transparent in all we do. When the question was asked on Connect PNG, we asked the bipartisan committee through the Public Accounts Committee. They had a look through all the Connect PNG transactions. A report is now live before us. I think it was Deloitte, or a major audit firm. Deloitte was engaged to look into the Connect PNG. The report is being finalized. When it's ready, we'll present to this floor of Parliament. Member for Yalu Pangia did make some observation. He asked through a question earlier that through the former work secretary under the bus, Mr. David Wera was thrown out of his job because he said he did some corrupt practices in Works Department, and some other allegations he made earlier.
So we have a point of order. Honorable Member of Yalu Pangia, point of order, please.
I know Prime Minister doesn't take things seriously, and he try and misconstrue facts for political convenience. But Secretary Ware's name was never mentioned on this floor of Parliament. He was never told that he was involved in corrupt deals. It was your government's decision to remove him. You shouldn't just put blames on people who are competent and who are performing. If you sacked him just to employ him elsewhere in the government system, it goes to show your own integrity and your own competence, Mr. Speaker. So please tell the facts. That is not true what you said on this floor. Thank you.
Honorable Prime Minister.
All right, thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'll keep it short. The former Prime Minister knows exactly what he's talking about. Whilst the senior son of Yalu Pangia in David Vera was not named, he was head of this department. He was head of this department when that allegations were made. The Deloitte's report will come to tell you. He said one contractor paid over 700 million kina. One contractor. No contractor has to date been paid over 700 million kina. All these programs are still running. So the full report, Deloitte's report on Connect PNG will come before this House, on top of the Public Accounts Committee report. And because it's an important program, we can sit here and talk and make fun of this Connect PNG program. But when I drove down and I saw people along Amazon Bay and Cloudy Bay in tears, it meant that at least we're giving hope to them. When I became PM in 2020, flew unannounced into Kaintiba, and people there in Kaintiba told me, we just need road. Today as I speak, road has passed through Kaintiba, and very soon I'll be driving from Port Moresby to Lae. All parts of our country needs road. We want this program to survive. If there's some improprieties and some people that did something wrong in this program, then the reports will pick out where the errors are. But a focused program to bring roads to our people must not be compromised because some of us want to play politics. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Deputy Speaker, Member for Makam.
Mr. Speaker, thank you too much for asking me, giving me time to ask him question. Mr. Speaker, my question is to be asked to the Minister for Livestock, but I think I don't see him here on the floor. Therefore, Honourable Speaker, I will ask this question to the Prime Minister. It's not long, it's a short question. I should have put it a long question to the Minister, but since the Minister is not here, I will ask this question to the Prime Minister. Honourable Mr. Speaker, Prime Minister, lo good la wisdom lo you brukim this la Minister Agriculture go tripla. Na people like na ting blue lo lookim. People walk come up lo livestock. Na mi one bell straight one time you lo this la ting blow. Come up in livestock ministry. Makam district is one of the main producer of livestock in Papua New Guinea in the history time. My father was one of those, and I was being one of the boy who ran around at the paddock looking after bull macau. And I've seen the importance of livestock. And when you, in your wisdom, by creating a ministry for livestock, I was one of this member who would really fully support you on that idea. Honorable Prime Minister, ever since you appointed the minister, until now, I haven't heard a ministerial statement or a policy made table in this floor of Parliament to tell us how the livestock is going to be run in the country as being a priority onto that. Honorable Prime Minister, Minister no stop now, let me ask him, but me ask him go to you. Through you as a Prime Minister, whom you have this wisdom of creating this ministry, will you ask your minister in the next session of Parliament bring a policy on the government decision on how to develop livestock in Papua New Guinea? Because I know my people of Makam is still waiting to know how we're going to improve livestock and bring livestock back to where it has been before. Thank you, Honourable Speaker.
Honourable Prime Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Me talk thank you, Member of Makam. Deputy Speaker, I'll ask him this very important question. Now, in our nation, we closely import closely a billion kina worth of livestock product every year. We import this in a nation where we should not be importing poultry anymore. We should not be importing pork products anymore, or beef products, sheep products. We unfortunately continue to import since 1975. Substantial our currency flows out for the importation of these products, as well as potentially we produce to supply to the world out there. Next door to us, we can go by land transport or ship, 280 million Indonesians who largely consume beef and food produced in the halal manner. So the setup of the ministry was expected to rise up, replace imports and produce locally, as well as prepare for the production to export outside. I want to appreciate the Chinese government. They've now allowed us to, anything we produce to be exported to China in terms of the importing, especially the food products, is concerned. So this was meant to step up the production of our livestock sector for replacing imports that we import, as well as produce for export. I'll certainly get the livestock minister to present a report to us. I jokingly made the other day to him so that his MD could listen. I said, instead of livestock, we're possibly becoming a dead stock. Let's get up and make it a livestock.
We have a supplementary question. Honorable Member Long.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Before I ask my question, can I, supplementary question, can I ask for extension of question time? It's 2 minutes left. Many more questions?
The question is that the question time be extended.
Yes.
Would those in favor please stand? Sure. Honourable members, planning member is enough. Question time be extended. So, Honourable member Long Sinayong, you ask him supplementary.
Supplementary to the Prime Minister is this. It seems to be a good opportunity to raise this point because it's been sitting there for a while. The Prime Minister's intention to promote livestock in this country is a good one. You need to bring into the country breeding stock. At the moment, in Papua New Guinea, it's difficult to bring in livestock from especially Australia because they have what they call a protocol in place between Australia and Papua New Guinea, which says that if you bring cattle as a livestock into this country, you have to slaughter it within 90 days. They allow for 90 days of fattening, after which you must slaughter it before your next load comes up. The effect of that is that it makes it impossible for us to bring it in for breeding purposes. If you bring it in under their export terms and conditions, you've got to slaughter them within 90 days. That does not allow for livestock industry to develop in Papua New Guinea, especially when you want to. So this issue was there when John Simon, the former member for MAPRIC, was the agriculture minister. We tried to sort that out. I tried to help him, and we couldn't. That continues to remain an impediment. So I'm wondering whether somebody within the government, under the Prime Minister's leadership, could negotiate this and free this restriction up, so that when you import livestock, you can also breed it and keep it for longer than 90 days and spread it throughout Papua New Guinea and grow your livestock industry out of those imports. This is the only impediment at the moment. So I just bring it to the Prime Minister's attention. It's making it difficult to import for breeding purposes.
Honourable Prime Minister.
All right, Mr. Speaker, the supplementary question is in order. There's a stiff protocol in importation of live animals and livestock. Each nation have their quarantine standards. Each nations have the requirement. And we do, on our side, we've now stepped up the quarantine sector. And we work with nations who want to send their stock to us. Australia, particularly because of the island standing and their livestock is a major industry. They're very, very strict on partner nations in which import-exports take place, as well as border surveillance. And we work with Australia for the southern side of our country, especially in the minister's own electorate, to have check and quarantine facility, as well as the rest of key areas in which we'll bring this in, but the stocks make contact with us. The intention in the long run is for us to grow our stock. And I want to put to all of us, and again for those who will come after us, that Indonesia remains a very big market for beef. Very, very big market. In fact, the biggest beef market in the whole world is Indonesia right now as we speak. And so this is an industry that must be moved, and I take this question to heart. We will work with the Australian government. We've started this work to see the compatibility of our NACIA standard as well as the standards, making sure that import and export of livestock as well as livestock produces are synchronized within our two nations. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable members, have question time. Maybe Kamala Harris blow and finish. Honourable Minister of Health.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I seek leave to respond to questions without notice raised by the Governor for his speaking in the last Parliament session, please.
Leave granted.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The last Parliament session dated 30th of November 2025, the Governor raised 4 important questions regarding the procurement, supply and distribution of medical supplies in our country. The first question, how many of the PAC or Public Accounts Committee recommendations have been actioned so far, including the replacement of particularly individuals involved in the procurement, and has that been done? Mr. Speaker, 2018 Public Accounts Committee inquiry made 15 recommendations to strengthen procurement, regulation and distribution of medicines in our country. 4 recommendations require high-level government decisions, including legislative reform, establishment of a national pharmaceutical authority, infrastructure investment, and broader regulatory reforms. Consultation has commenced in these areas, and my department will seek further technical inputs to prepare recommendations to Cabinet consideration. Mr. Speaker, significant reforms have been implemented within the National Department of Health. The former medical supplies procurement and distribution branch have been elevated to a medical supplies division, with staffing increased from 115 to now 174 positions, and new leadership appointed, including an executive manager and managers dedicated to procurement, distribution and contracting. These changes were undertaken to strengthen governance, integrity and oversight of the procurement processes. Mr. Speaker, a number of PAC recommendations have also been implemented. The M-Supply inventory system now operates in more than 500 health facilities in our country, including all area medical stores and major hospitals, improving stock monitoring and reducing wastage. The Medicines Quality Control Laboratory, operational since 2019, continues to strengthen quality assurance of medicines entering our country. Infrastructure investments are also progressing. The government has allocated 20 million in 2025 to rebuild the Lei area medical store destroyed by fire in September 2024, and a new program, Medicines Warehouse at Konedobu, estimated at 15 million kina, will store TB, HIV medicines and vaccines to relieve storage pressure at the Barili area medical store. Mr. Speaker, in response to the recommendations on the distribution system, the Department of Health currently manages 9 national distribution contracts, and distribution responsibilities will progressively transition to the provincial health authorities. UNICEF is mapping out a more feasible distribution network. Advice on further outsourcing arrangements for procurement and warehouse will be finalized and provided to the Cabinet for consideration. Mr. Speaker, these reforms form part of our broader efforts to strengthen transparency, accountability and operational efficiency within the national medical supply system. Question 2, given that the medicine shortages crisis that were we are currently facing, that was in November last year, or towards the end of last year, can the Minister inform this House and the people if tenders were sent out as per the National Finance Management Act requirements, or if not, how was the procurement done, or was it done through purchase orders? Mr. Speaker, the answer is yes. The procurement of medicines is undertaken in accordance with the Public Finance Management Act 1995 and National Procurement Act of 2018, which require value for money, transparency, fairness, and competitive participation. In 2025, the Department of Health issued 4 public procurement advertisements covering 332 essential medicines items required for the operation of health facilities across the country. All registered pharmaceutical suppliers who met regulatory and financial requirements were eligible to participate in tender processes. Bids were evaluated through established procurement processes and contracts were audited accordingly. The Department of Health is currently preparing the 2026 medical supplies procurement plan, which will guide expenditure of the 2026 budget appropriation. This plan includes multi-year tenders for high-value medicines such as amoxicillin, paracetamol, and IV fluids, initially covering 9 medicines at an estimated cost of 29 million kina, and progressively expanding to approximately 20 items under 3-year contracts. This plan will also include a public tender by quotation for the procurement of 428 essential medical items, estimated approximately 55 million kina. In addition, the government has appropriated 84.9 million kina separately in 2026 budget for the procurement of HIV, TB, and malaria medicines and vaccines through WHO-approved international procurement mechanisms, ensuring quality and cost-effective procurement of program medicines. Question 3, Mr. Speaker, if tenders were properly awarded, why were those contracts not supplied? And we are facing the crisis that was towards the end of last year again. Mr. Speaker, Papua New Guinea relies entirely on imported medicines, with approximately 80% sourced from international manufacturers in Asia, particularly India and China. Following contract awards, medicines are to be manufactured, shipped internationally, cleared through customs, and distributed to area medical stores and the provincial health authorities. This supplies typically takes between 3 and 6 months, depending on manufacturing schedules, international shipping, and foreign exchange processing. For example, procurement of 332 essential medical items included in the last quarter of 2025 are now being delivered in the country. Mr. Speaker, as these deliveries arrive, the national stock position across our items is expected to increase. These deliveries will provide buffer while procurement under 2026 medical supplies procurement plan is undertaken and completed before June 2026. Mr. Speaker, I should note that we lost about 55 million kina of stock during the burning down of Lei Area Medical Store that have been progressively replacing this stock to date. Question 4, given that we are dealing with public funds, can the Minister table a list of all medical supplies and their current contract value so that the taxpayers can know who is getting their money and for what purposes? Mr. Speaker, the Department of Health maintains a full procurement records through the M-Supply Inventory Management System, which records suppliers' purchase orders, contract values, and delivery tracking. The system has been in national use since 2014 and allows procurement data to be reconciled with the government financial records through IFMS. In 2025, the department concluded 4 public tenders for the procurement of 332 essential medical items. A total of 23 registered pharmaceutical companies participated in the bidding processes and were subject to the department's technical, financial, and product quality evaluation processes. Following evaluation, contracts valued at approximately 41 million kina were awarded to 20 suppliers that met all requirements. This procurement excluded internationally procured public health programs and commodities. Mr. Speaker, 332 individual contracts were issued for supply of essential medicines, which with each contract awarded per medicine item. This approach strengthens transparency and improves tracking of individuals' medicines through the supply chain. I have here a list of 20 suppliers who were awarded contracts ranging from 98,000, the lowest, to 13.6 million kina, or over 41 million kina, which, Mr. Speaker, I will present this report to the Parliament today. I will present to the Speaker for this information forthwith. All awarded contracts and suppliers information are recorded in the Department's procurement and inventory system and can be reconciled through purchase orders, invoices, and receiving reports. Payments are only processed upon delivery in line with government procurement requirements. All contracts required full delivery by April 2026, and suppliers who fail to meet delivery timelines will have their orders cancelled. Question 5, can the Minister also give an undertaking to this House that in future we will reduce the risk of not awarding more than 50% of all these contracts to just one company or subsidiaries of the same company? Mr. Speaker, in 2025, the National Department of Health awarded procurement contracts for supply of 332 essential medical commodities through a competitive public tender process. A total of 23 suppliers participated in the process, and contracts valued at approximately 41 million kina were awarded to 20 suppliers that met the requirement, technical, financial, and quality standards. This excludes internationally procured public health commodities such as TB, HIV, malaria, and vaccines. Mr. Speaker, contracts were issued per individual item, resulting in 332 separate contracts. These contracts ensure that procurement is distributed across multiple suppliers and supports continuity of supply for high volume and essential items. The largest total value of contracts awarded to a single supplier was approximately 13.6 million kina, with other major contract suppliers receiving lower allocations. This demonstrates that procurement is not concentrated with one single company, but is spread across multiple qualified suppliers. Mr. Speaker, all suppliers must be registered with the Pharmacy Board of Papua New Guinea and are required to comply with Investment Promotion Authority and IRC requirements. Ownership and detectiveship structures are assessed during the licensing processes, and supplies must meet strict standards relating to financial capacity, quality assurance, and safety of medicines. The Department is also strengthening our procurement practices by maintaining competitive public tender processes and awarding contracts at the individual medicines level to improve transparency, accountability, and reliability. Mr. Speaker, the Department of Health maintains or remains committed to ensuring that procurement is conducted fairly, competitively, and in a manner that protects the integrity of the system while ensuring the reliable access to essential medicines. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for allowing me to answer these important questions raised by the Governor of East. Thank you.
Leader of Government Business.
Mr. Speaker, I ask leave of Parliament to move a motion without notice.
Leave granted. Leave granted.
Mr. Speaker, I move that summons of the standing orders be suspended, as would prevent orders of the day numbers 205, 95, 97, 96, and notice numbers 166, 190, 191, 192, 193, and 194, government business, being called on forthwith.
Question is that the motion be agreed to. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Mr. Clerk.
Order of the day, number 205, Permanent Parliamentary Committee on Communications. Report on the inquiry into the standard and integrity of journalism in Papua New Guinea 2026. Paper and statement, motion for adoption. Resumption of debate from the 28th March. Leader of Government Business in continuation on the motion of Mr. Peter Chamal, that the report and its recommendations be adopted.
Honorable Governor, West Britain.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I once again thank the ICT Committee Chairman, Honorable Marsh Narawak, for bringing this ICT report. I have a small statement to deliver, Mr. Speaker, related to this statement. Mr. Speaker, I rise to speak to the legislative reform agenda contained in our chairman's report, because this is fundamentally a conversation about our responsibilities as legislators. This parliament is the supreme lawmaking body of our country, and if the laws on our books are outdated or inadequate or silent on the challenges facing our media and digital environment, then that is our failure to fix, Mr. Speaker. So fundamentally this report calls on us to fix it, and I intend to make the case of why we must. We must replace the Printers and Newspapers Act with the Freedom of Press Act, Mr. Speaker. The Printers and Newspapers Act was written in 1956. PNG did not even exist as an independent nation. That legislation was designed for a world of printing presses and paper, not smartphones or social media and digital broadcasting. It has no place governing journalism in 2026. The committee is calling for it to be replaced with the modern Freedom of Press Act, one that explicitly protects editorial independence and provides legal recognition for the Media Council of PNG as a self-regulatory body, and also establishes a media development trust fund to sustain public interest journalism, rural media coverage, and investigative reporting. This is not a minor amendment, Mr. Speaker. This is a fundamental modernization of how this Parliament protects press freedom. And Mr. Speaker, we need to legislate an Access to Information Act. PNG Constitution guarantees reasonable access to official information, but without legislation to give effect to that right, it remains a promise without enforcement. Citizens and journalists are regularly denied access to public information with no clear legal recourse. We must legislate an Access to Information Act, one that establishes a clear disclosure obligations for all government agencies, creates an accessible appeal process, and integrates with our emerging digital identity framework. Transparency is not a favor government grants to the public. It is a constitutional obligation. It is time we legislate it as such. And also, Mr. Speaker, to amend the National ICT Act 2009. The National ICT Act was written before social media transformed the information landscape, Mr. Speaker. It requires targeted amendments to do two critical things, Mr. Speaker. First, to draw a clear legal line between technical regulations of telecommunications infrastructure and editorial content, so that no government agency can use technical powers to interfere with what journalists publish. Second, to establish a clear coordination protocols between police and telecommunications for investigating cyber crimes, including crimes against journalists, faster response, clear authority, and proper legal safeguards. That is what these amendments must deliver. Mr. Speaker, many times even police struggle to get access for this information from telecommunication service providers, especially when we report of some malicious threatening messages and all. Mr. Speaker, we must introduce journalist protection clauses in our criminal code. Mr. Speaker, journalists in this country have been assaulted, intimidated, and had their equipment destroyed while performing their professional duties in the interest of public. Currently, our criminal code provides no specific protection for them. Mr. Speaker, the committee is recommending that we amend the criminal code to make assault on a journalist an aggravated offense carrying stronger penalties, and to criminalize the obstruction of journalists, the destruction of media equipment, and intimidation of media workers. A democracy that does not protect the people who hold it to account is a democracy in name only. Mr. Speaker, we develop artificial intelligence governance legislation. Mr. Speaker, artificial intelligence is already reshaping how news is created and consumed. Deepfakes, AI-generated disinformation, and automated content manipulation are not future threats, they are present realities, Mr. Speaker. Papua New Guinea currently has no legislative framework to address them. Mr. Speaker, the committee is recommending the development of comprehensive AI governance legislation establishing transparency requirements for AI-generated content, creating mechanisms to address violations and protecting citizens from AI-facilitated harm while supporting legitimate innovation. If we do not legislate now, we will spend the next decade responding to crises instead of preventing them. Mr. Speaker, this artificial intelligence can be used for positive development. At the same time, it also can be negative. It's dangerous for our young children, and they can manipulate the photos of any leader, any citizens using the artificial intelligence. They can make you naked, Mr. Speaker, using the artificial intelligence programs. Mr. Speaker, the Cybercrime Code Act and also we need to modernize the Censorship Act. Mr. Speaker, two further legislative reforms complete this agenda, Mr. Speaker. First, the Cybercrime Code Act must be amended to clearly define which agency, NICTA, the RPNGC, or others, holds primary responsibility for each category of cybercrime. Overlapping mandates and unclear authority are costing us in delayed responses and unprosecuted offences, Mr. Speaker. Second, the Censorship Act must be modernized for the digital era. The current Act simply cannot address the realities of online platforms, viral contents, and digital distribution. We need clear, contemporary standards developed in close consultation with media organizations, civil society, and digital rights advocates that protect the public from genuinely harmful content without becoming a tool for government censorship of legitimate journalism. Mr. Speaker, I mentioned that 6 legislative reforms are 6 opportunities for this Parliament to lead. We can replace a law from 1956 with one that fits for 2026. We can give constitutional rights real legal force. We can protect journalists the way we protect our citizens. We can govern artificial intelligence before it governs us. And we can bring our cybercrime and censorship laws into the digital age, Mr. Speaker. The question before this Parliament is not whether these reforms are necessary. The evidence in this report makes that case beyond doubt. The question is whether we have the political will and the urgency to act, Mr. Speaker. I believe we do, and I urge this Parliament to prove it. Mr. Speaker, I commend this report to this Parliament. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Governor, Member for Kokobo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I also rise to speak on the Committee Inquiry Report 2026 on the Permanent Parliamentary Committee on Communication, and I do so not merely as a member of Parliament, but a representative of a district that has felt the devastating human cost of a failure to act on a cyberbullying, on online abuse. Mr. Speaker, our daughters are dying. We must act now. This report is not just a document of findings and recommendations, but it is a cry for help for our people, and especially our women and girls. Mr. Speaker, before I go into a substance of this report, I must speak of something that weighs heavily in my heart. And in my district, Kokopo district, we have lost two of our own to the consequences of online abuse and cyberbullying, to deaths, 2 families shattered, 2 futures stolen. One of those lives was a young girl from a village in my district. Mr. Speaker, she was somebody's daughter, somebody's sister, a young life full of promise, and she is gone. Mr. Speaker, I will not allow a death to mean nothing on the floor of this Parliament, but I stand here today for Sheila and for every girl, our mothers in this country, who is being silently fomented behind a screen. Mr. Speaker, the committee's inquiry report 2026 has clearly identified several deeply interconnected challenges facing Papua New Guinea's alarming finding are those that directly affected women, girls, and young people in our communities and in our beloved, beautiful country. This report acknowledges that one, unregulated social media use is accelerating the spread of misinformations, disinformations, and harmful online content, and young people are most exposed. Online abuse, sensationalism, and harmful digital content are undermining public trust and threatening the safety and well-being of individuals, particularly our mothers, women and girls who face intimidations, harassments, and safety threats online. Mr. Speaker, number 3, the rapid advancement of technology, including artificial intelligence or AI, has created new and dangerous tools that are being weaponized against vulnerable members of our community. The democratic accountability and access to information are being eroded by the very platform that were meant to connect us, Mr. Speaker. What we are witnessing today in Papua New Guinea is the weaponization of the technology against our own people, Mr. Speaker. Our own women, which are our mothers, and our daughters, so the girls, are bearing the heaviest burden. Mr. Speaker, the threat of AI is generated content, deepfakes, manipulated images, and fabricate videos is now being used to humiliate, shame, and destroys reputations of women and girls in our communities and our beautiful country, Papua New Guinea. There are no abstract threats from faraway places. They are happening in our wards, in our villages, in our schools, right in our doorsteps, and of course, for example, in Kokopo, and and of course, right in East New Britain and right across Papua New Guinea. A young girl like Sheila Kalala should not have had a face such correctly, but no child should and no woman should. And yet, Mr. Speaker, we have an educate law to protect them. We have no educate law to protect them. Mr. Speaker, I therefore rise to strongly support the priority recommendations of the committee's report, particularly those that speak directly to the protection of our women and girls, young people of our beautiful country. And of course, in the priority areas, enact urgent legislative reforms to safeguard the press freedom and accountability. We need laws that criminalize the use of AI content and arms individuals, especially women and children. The current Cybercrime Code Act 2016 must be reviewed and strengthened to meet today's technology's realities. Mr. Speaker, the priority 3, responsible digital safety and law enforcement. And I call on this Parliament to establish with the committee, and on behalf of the committee, to establish a dedicated cybercrime unit at the provincial level with mandatory training programs for officers to handle AI-related offenses. We cannot fight the 21st century crimes with 20th century tools, Mr. Speaker, but priority restored journalism quality and professional standard. We must reinstate proper accreditation mechanism and strengthen journalism education so that spread of harmful and fabricate content targeting women and girls at all the sources. And priority strengthen institutions protections mechanism. And again, the committee urged to establish of a media development rapid response unit that can respond safely with individuals, particularly women and girls, are being targeted online. Mr. Speaker, the parliamentary message in this report stated clearly and powerfully a strong democracy and requires both free journalism and responsible digital governments. Parliament now has a clear opportunity to advance both. And I agree entirely, but I add this, a strong democracy also requires that its both vulnerable citizens are protected, and right now our women and girls are not protected. Mr. Speaker, I'm calling, and of course, on behalf of the committee, calling on this Parliament to first fast-track legislation that specifically criminalizes AI-generated content used to arm, arrest, or humiliate individuals with stronger penalties when the victims are minors. Establish a national awareness campaign beginning in our schools on responsible digital use, online safety, and danger of cyberbullying. Create dedicated national helpline on reporting mechanism for victims of online abuse and cyberbullying so that no young girl suffers, and of course everyone in this beautiful country in silence. Name and remember our victims so that the deaths of young people like Sheila Kalala, of one of my ward in Kokopo district, are never forgotten, and their passing becomes a catalyst for the change the nation desperately needs. Mr. Speaker, I commend the Chairman and the members of the permanent parliamentary committees on communication for this very, very important report, evidence-based on and consultative report, in that it took courage and dedication to bring this before Parliament. And as a member of this committee, I am proud of work we have done together. Mr. Speaker, again, I support this report. I support our women, and I support our girls, and of course, every people that has been affected through the IA, and I will not stop until the Parliament does the same. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Buena tuna.
Honourable Member Lualatau.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise on this side of the House to also support the work of the Permanent Parliamentary Committee on Communications as well. I want to acknowledge the leadership of the Chairman, Honourable Mas Narawek, in this work of the committee. And of course, Mr. Speaker, you know, the work of the committee is to have an oversight of the sector that we are involved in. And I want to commend you in your support for the work that we do as committee members. And of course, acknowledge the government for also having a bipartisan approach and involving us in the work of the committees. So I stand as the Deputy Chair of the committee on this side. And also, Mr. Speaker, I want to also recommend that in this term and of course into the future, I think the work of the committee is very important, and the support of the committees in undertaking their role as committee members is very important, and budget appropriation to support this work is recommended. And of course, if there's key government agencies or departments that government want to drive their agenda, we think that, you know, having a committee oversight is very important. Mr. Speaker, I want to also support this report, and you know, the reality is stuck for millions of Papua New Guineans today, particularly our young people in rural communities, especially with the digital migration today into Facebook, TikTok, WhatsApp. These are no longer supplementary news sources. They are becoming primary news sources. And in the absence of strong mainstream alternatives, unverified and harmful and deliberate false content spread unchecked with real and devastating consequences. And Mr. Speaker, you know, you'll be surprised to also learn that there are 33,000 URLs or websites that are promoting bad content in this country, and another 33,000 sites that are yet to be classified and identified by NICTA and our departments, remove from the sites that are in this country. And these sites are promoting very bad, harmful content that are exposing our children, and that is also being available to many of our citizens today. We hear incidents of suicides because of misinformation, disinformation, and cyberbullying. We hear of family breakdown because of social media promoting misinformation and disinformation. And these are reasons why this Parliament cannot be silent anymore, and this Parliament must take action. Mr. Speaker, when a journalist is threatened online, and when a citizen is harassed, and when a deep fake is weaponized to destroy our reputation, who responds? Right now, the answer is unclear. The Cybercrime Code Act creates overlapping mandates between NICTA, the Royal Papua New Guinea Constabulary, and of course agencies, resulting in delays and confusion and unprosecuted offences. The committee is recommending that the Cybercrime Code be amended to clearly define which agency holds primary responsibility for each of the categories of cybercrime. When someone is victimized online, they deserve a swift, coordinated response and not agencies pointing fingers amongst each other. Mr. Speaker, we are in a modernized era. Unfortunately, our Censorship Act is not coping with time. Our current Censorship Act was designed for printing materials. It simply cannot address the realities of viral social media content, AI-generated information, live streaming or digital platforms. We need a modernized framework with clear contemporary standards that protect citizens and genuinely harmful online content, while drawing on constitutional line agency government censorship to legitimize journalism and free expression. These reforms must be developed through extensive consultation with media organizations, civil society, digital rights advocates, and line between the protecting the public and silencing the press must be bright, visible, and unambiguous. Mr. Speaker, like I said today, in our inquiry, it was reported that 33,000 URL sites currently are being undertaken, identified and classified by NICTA to be removed off the sites. These sites promote bad and harmful content that is also exposed to our children who have access to internet services. One of the more practical but more critical important recommendations in this report, Mr. Speaker, is to address the problem of unauthorized information leaks and inconsistent government messaging on social media. Mr. Speaker, we hear of NEC decisions being leaked before authorization. We hear of sensitive appointments circulating on WhatsApp before official announcements are made by government. Government officials mixing personal opinions with official statements on public platforms. The committee is recommending that DICT develop a clear, standardized social media protocol for all government agencies, defining authorized spokesperson, approval of process for official announcements, and guidelines separating personal opinions from official government communications consistent with verified government messaging is the first line of defense against misinformation in our information ecosystem. Mr. Speaker, technology alone cannot solve a problem that is fundamentally about human behavior and understanding. We must invest in our people. The committee is recommending the development and implementation of a national digital and media literacy strategy, integrating critical thinking and online safety and media literacy into teaching, training in our school curriculum and community outreach programs. A targeted media literacy program for public servants and, of course, the general public is also recommended to strengthen responsibility in communication practices across the country. And mobile training initiatives must be reached to our remote communities. Mr. Speaker, you and I will appreciate that the speed of internet and digital technology has outpaced our digital literacy in this country. Mr. Speaker, two further recommendations complete this digital governance. First, the committee is calling for the establishment of a standardized industry and wide fact-checking protocols, verification standards across media outlets, with clear guidelines for source verification and transparency, connections, retraction, and processes. Second, the committee recommends, Mr. Speaker, DICT must be required to publish biannual transparency reports on all government content takedown requests, listing the type of content, the reason for each request the agency is responsible. Government must be accountable as it seeks to remove the internet options as well. As you hear, Mr. Speaker, I think a few months ago, the Parliament and the Government of Australia also moved some strong decisions on banning mobile phone use amongst children in Australia. These are the kind of decisions that, as a Parliament and as leaders, we need to make those strong decisions to safeguard our children as well. Mr. Speaker, finally, social media has given every citizen of this country a voice, and that is powerful. But it also has given every bad actor a megaphone with no accountability. The recommendation in this report, Mr. Speaker, do not seek to silence anyone. They seek to build a digital environment where truth has a fighting chance, where journalists are protected, and where citizens are equipped to think critically, and where government is transparent about its own actions online. Papua New Guinea democracy depends on an informed public. An informed public depends on a trustworthy information ecosystem. And a trustworthy information ecosystem requires exactly the reforms that this Parliament must undertake. Mr. Speaker, the time to act is now, and I urge this Parliament to do without delay. Mr. Speaker, I commend this report. Thank you.
The question is the question be put. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The motion is that the question is that the report and its recommendations be adopted. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Mr. Clerk.
Order of the day, number 95, Organic Law on Certain Constitutional Office Holders Amendment Law 2024. Minister for Justice and Attorney General. First vote from 6th of August 2025. Sorry, correction, second vote.
Honourable members, as this is the second vote, the Constitution requires that the vote must be recorded and that in order for the proposed law to pass, it must also be supported by a two-thirds absolute majority of 79 members. Honourable members, the Parliament will now vote. Clerk, please ring the bells. Close the doors. Honourable members, the question is that the proposed law without amendments be now agreed to. Those in favour, please stand. Would those against please stand? The result of the vote, the ayes 82 and the noes 0. Mr. Clerk.
Third reading. A law to alter the organic law on certain control office holders and for related purposes.
Mr. Clerk.
Order of the day, number 97. Organic law on the integrity of political parties and candidates. Amendment Law 2024, Minister for Justice and Attorney General. Third reading. Second required opportunity for debate and second vote from 5th August 2025.
Minister for Justice and Attorney General.
Mr. Speaker, this is increasing the number from the political parties, register of political parties, to 75. And this is the second vote, and which will be the final final vote. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, in accordance with Standing Order 225F, I move that the proposed law be now read a third time and commence the second required opportunity to debate. Mr. Speaker, speech, I've already given the speech. This is the third reading, and the subject is simple, straightforward. It involves the register of political parties, and we must increase its age from 75 like the other constitutional office holders. It's a consistent, so we must be consistent in increasing the vote age. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Point of order, Mr. Prime Minister, what's your point of order?
Just for absolute clarity, not increase from 75. This increase to 75 consistent with others, but compulsory retirement at 72, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
The question be now put. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Honourable members, as this is the second vote, the Constitution requires that the vote must be recorded, and that in order for the proposed law to pass, it must also be supported by a two-thirds absolute majority of 79 members. Clerk, the Parliament will now vote, so please ring the bell. The question is that the proposed law without amendments be now agreed to. Those in favor, please stand. Those against, please stand. Honourable members, the results of the vote, the ayes 83 and the noes 0. Mr. Clerk.
Third reading. Bill and law to alter the organic law on integrity of political parties and candidates and for related purposes.
Mr. Clerk.
Order of the day number 96, organic law on national and local level government elections amendment law 2024. Minister for Justice and Attorney General, first vote from the 6th of August 2025.
Honourable members, as this is the first vote, the Constitution requires that a vote must be recorded and that in order for the proposed law to pass, it must also be supported by a two-thirds absolute majority of 79 members. Honourable members, the Parliament will now vote. Clerk, please ring the bells.
Long time since the previous reading. Can somebody tell us what this is about in summary?
Honourable members, I'm display or notice number 96, organic law on national and local level government elections. Mr. Minister, you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This is the age increment of the age for electoral commissioner. Please drop Simon Sinai. He's out of the race. You vote for the country. Vote for what someone's going to get. And they say, last time they swore me down. We are voting for electoral commissioner, but we don't know who the commissioner will be, but we will know soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. I think you more good plan. Time before notices comes. Suppose stable notice long time, you may refresh him Ryan Ball member, circulate him Pepa Golongo, Ambali Sabe. Close the doors. The question is that the proposed law, without amendments, be now agreed to. Those in favour, please stand. Those against, please stand. Honourable members, the result of the vote, the ayes 83 and the noes 0. And in accordance with Standing Order 222E, I now order the third reading, which is the second required opportunity for debate, and the second vote be adjourned for at least 2 months, this day as required by the Constitution. Mr. Clerk.
Notice number 166. Minister for Justice and Attorney General.
Mr. Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I present the High Court of Justice and Number of Judges Bill 2025.
Mr. Clerk.
First reading, a bill for an act A to implement Section 155, composition of the Higher Court of Justice of the Constitution by providing for the determination of the number of judges of the Higher Court of Justice, and B, repeal and replace the National Court Number of Judges Act 1984.
Minister for Justice and Attorney General.
Mr. Speaker, I move that bill be now read the second time.
You may make your speech, Mr. Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker and members of this Honourable House, in accordance with the standing orders of the Parliament, I am pleased to read the Higher Court of Justice Number of Judges Bill. Mr. Speaker, the High Courts of Justice Number of Judges Bill aims to repeal and replace the National Court Number of Judges Act 1987. Mr. Speaker, restructure of the High Courts of Justice resulting in the insertion of the Court of Appeal between the National Court and the Supreme Court prompts this proposed bill to repeal and replace the National Court Number of Judges Act 1987. This is because the new Court of Appeal requires the employment of more judges. Mr. Speaker, the current law, the scope of application of the National Court Number of Judges Act is limited to the National Court only. Therefore, the bill will enable the National Executive Council to determine the number of judges to all three levels of higher courts of justice based on the resources available through the national budget appropriation and the workload of the judges in the National Court, Court of Appeal, and the Supreme Court. Mr. Speaker, the High Courts of Justice, a number of judges bill is needed to support the Higher Courts of Justice restructure program of the judicial arm. Mr. Speaker, I look forward to the support of my fellow members of this Parliament to consider this proposed law and pass it as our duty as the lawmakers to this country. With that, Mr. Speaker, I commend this bill to this Honourable House. Thank you.
Mr. Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I want to stand up and debate on this matter, and I move that Parliament take note of this, and if I could make one or two words in support of the Minister. Pastor through me like commending Minister, lo hard work loken, consistently plowing at matters that seem unattractive, but very, very fundamental to the working of our country. Secondly, I want to say thank you to all members of Parliament. Late into the term, start of a new year, late into this session of Parliament, but 80 plus members of Parliament on both sides of the House coming in union for the construct of good laws for our country. And Mr. Speaker, on behalf of this government, let me place on record every leader who sit in to support these laws. Also register my appreciation to 5 members on the opposite leader himself, the member for Abao, the member for Sini Yongumok, the member for Wabek, and the member for Alatau, for sitting in to give support to these good laws. Now, Mr. Speaker, on this notice 166, in my view, is one of the better laws this Parliament would pass. Our country and the subscription to rule of law is totally in void if we do not really refurbish and anchor and entrench the independence of our judiciary, and making sure those who work in our judicial system are properly remunerated, compensated for their time, and making sure they are looked after. Mr. Speaker, we this time in this Parliament, 2022 to 2027, would have passed one monumental restructure that anchors our democracy going forward. What is our country if the reading of law and the dispensation of justice is not truly augmented, amplified, and run efficiently? Our country since 1975 has been operating under the premises of the two higher court system. Mr. Speaker, population at 1975 was under 3 million. Population at 2025-2026 is above 10 million. Our country at 1975 was not litigious. At 2025-2026 and going forward, our country will be litigious. Our country has so much diversity of opinion, thought, flow, etc. We find our common union in the reading of law and laws that run and carry our country. Mr. Speaker, this is a good law this Parliament would pass. It is consequential on the early amendments this Parliament has already made. This now brings into the fray or into motion a series of consequential amendments that will effectively entrench a three-tier higher court system. Mr. Speaker, on record, this reform also has strong contribution from the judiciary themselves. This reform does not compromise Section 99 of our Constitution that separates our three arms of government, especially judiciary. This reform entrenches the separation of three arms of government and making free flow adjudication of judgments in a higher court system that is one but three separate. The Supreme Court is elevated on its own to sit, to read possibly only Section 18 and Section 19 reference, and a selected few matters that will find its way to the Supreme Court, especially constitutional matters. The Appeals Court is a new court now this generation. Mr. Speaker, and I need the leadership of you, Parliament of you, by bringing this plan. New Appeals Court come inside now. And by sit down namel long Supreme Court, na National Court. This law amendments will work him now by making Minister Ninigi can employ more judges. Or kisi more judges, including judge law in country, na judge law outside of country. Whether this law or not law will come behind, you may also now increase him age long of judge. One can say you may increase him age for constitutional office holder, and it triple or four law you may pass him finish. So I want to, Mr. Speaker, support Minister Ninigi and commend every member of Parliament and inform our country. This Parliament on both sides would forever now bring into our country the operation of an appeals court. Appeal court Sinan Namel, Supreme Court Sinan on top, and National Court underneath. All in all, we'll employ up to almost 200 judges, subject to into the future. Past time law you got. You may have time Minister talk National Court Law 1987. And we put him total judge where we got employ him the country only 40 plat or so. Now you increase it now from 60 all the way to 200. Samblai Sinalo Supreme Court, Samblai Sinalo Appeals Court, majority was established National Court. Workload law today in 2025, go forward. And bago bigla, and bago bigla. Election petition, or criminal matter, or civil matter, or ground matter. As you may expect him, judges in our country, or National Court in our country, you must also put him in increased appeals court. So appeals court, but purely Sinan law, Harem talk. All matters law, National Court, where all you feel, all appellant feel must have they are aggrieved, then the appeals court will sit down and specialize in dealing with the appeals matter. It is a good law we bring in. These members of Parliament, you can take yourself to heart that you've now contributed to a fundamental restructuring of judiciary that does not compromise the independence of judiciary, but rather adds value, augment, and add to efficiency of adjudication on disputes, resolution in our country through the higher court system. Mr. Speaker, I like asking me, I give him full support, because this will now unclog many delayed judgments, many uncertainty we have. Because the Supreme Court never said harem. Same CJ Siran on top, and we control him more, and we appoint him Supreme Court, appoint him also National Court. Now you may not distance him. They relate, but they're completely distant. National Court got own judge manager block and yet. Appeals Court got own judge manager block and yet. Supreme Court CJ Basiran Tab Lugarim Supreme Court. And in a land of so much diversity, whether diversity of church opinions or diversity of politics or diversity of house line, a very fair, independent court system that is free-flowing, addressing disputes in our country is a direct contribution to the security of our democracy going forward. So, me thank you all members of Parliament. You plus sit down, come lay through. Me like asking myself this law or laws, but you may work on strong in court system. Leave me. Let us give support to it and let them all play. So now I look forward to next year onwards a three-tier hot court system: National Court, Appeals Court, and Supreme Court. Sit down, all disputes for country. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Member of Loabao.
Thank you, Speaker. Very short intervention. Highly commendations to the Attorney General and the Prime Minister and the Chief Justice who have done all this thinking, and therefore are going forward. This three-tier system has to come in. I remember the time when the current Planning Minister was Attorney General who initiated this three-tier structuring system. So now we are now coming to the conclusion of it, and high commendations with full support. Just one little comment on the proposal. If the Attorney General can and our National Executive Council can maybe relook at it at a later time, and that is as recommended on the proposal, amendment section 2 on the number of judges, paragraph 3, which reads like this: following the appointment of the first 60 judges, a determination of the number of judges from 61 up shall be made by the NEC after considering a report from the Chief Justice. I think such highly technical matters like the number of judges, how many, the politics must not come into these things. So we are now bringing the NEC again back into this process. So my strong argument is this is one area where the Chief Justice has to determine, depending on the workload, etc. He needs a number of extra new judges, and they must make the call. No need for NEC to go and process it again. That's my view, and it is one area, if we can leave the judiciary, the last bastion of democracy in our country, when the executive and the legislature are playing around in politics, we must leave the judiciary alone by itself. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Minister of Public Service.
Thank you, Speaker. And I'd like to commend the Minister for bringing up these amendments, and I think it's all timely. Thank the government for support. I just want to bring to attention the current prevailing issues there about the time of dispatching election petitions, and also I hope this increased number of judges, and at the same time the separation of the higher Supreme Court and the National Court, and having the Appeals Court in between, should be able to address the issue of prolonged election petitions, which has kept up time for members of Parliament and also the people of the electorate who waited for too long to get decisions made so that they can have a member of Parliament settled in to deliver services to the people. It's been an ongoing issue, and we hope this amendment should be able to get the Chief Justice to really look at, and it's a basic administrative matter. It is part of administration that should be done. So I hope this amendment, this inclusion of the Appeals Court will be able to provide separate, because the way I see it, it's not mainly criminal in nature or whatever. It's basically administrative matter. Likewise for the public service appeals, or public service who are dismissed and terminated, they end up in court. And when the court sits on those decisions, the administrative process has already taken place. We've got already someone else to act on the position, and to make it worse, Mr. Speaker, you got another appointment already, public servant appointed to the position. Some months later, or years later, the national court or the court system reinstates that discipline officer again, terminated a public servant. So it creates a lot of confusion right there in the middle. So I hope this should be taken care of by the Chief Justice and the judiciary to make sure that these matters are dispatched in time and quickly, so that we can let the administrative process to carry on board for election petitions and especially for public service, taking the matter to court and prolonging the administrative process. So I think that's two issues that I want to bring to attention while this law is being passed and the amendments are passed. I'm the Speaker. I think also we need to take note of this. Otherwise, I support the amendments and I support the Minister. Thank you.
Honourable Member Warbeck.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Let me congratulate the Justice Minister for bringing this important bill to Parliament. I think, as we know, the rule of law is sort of the foundation on which a nation actually rises. Mr. Speaker, in one of those reports done by the Constitutional Planning Committee, they said, and it's quite explicit, that the integrity and the performance of judges is the golden thread that holds the nation together. So, Mr. Speaker, what I want to say today is that in some other sort of professions, like, for example, in medicine, in surgery, there is a board that sits and audits the performance of doctors. Like when it comes to surgery, you have to perform up to 15 major surgeries in a quarter if you are to be eligible to practice as a surgeon. Now, the case dispensation rates in terms of, judges are doing their work, I think there needs to be a body. Right now, they seem to be a law unto themselves. There needs to be an oversight committee that audits the function of judges in terms of the number of cases being appealed, in terms of the number of cases being dispensed by judges. Because, as correctly pointed by the Prime Minister, it is the rule of law that holds a nation together. And it has to be addressed, because right now we see that the rate of case dispensation rate in terms of major important crimes that are committed in the country, there seems to be an unusual long delay in terms of those cases being dispensed. Now, there needs to be an independent body made up of esteemed citizens of the country that must sit oversight the function of this important group of people. Because right now, in terms of in what being mentioned by the Prime Minister, Section 99 of the Constitution, we don't want to be seen as infringing on the performance of a different branch of government. And it's quite important. And if we are to actually appraise the performance of judges in our country, we need to have a committee that's in place that oversights the function. In terms of case dispensation rates, if we realize that they are not dispensing the number of cases required for example, in the contract given out to these judges, those must be taken up by this committee. Right now, it's quite difficult. It's quite difficult to hold any judge to account. A lot of the judges have become political. One of the reasons why the Chief Justice is supposed to be appointed by NEC is because they put in the process, the CPC put in the process so that that Chief Justice answers to all political parties and not just one political party. Now, this is an important branch of government. This is the branch of government that holds every one of us to account, and we need to really pick up the effort in that space. And I want to commend the Minister for bringing in this important amendment, the three-tier system of justice, so that at least there is some sort of oversight in the performance and function. But in saying that, we really need to come up with a committee that provides this oversight. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable Minister of State Enterprise.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I also join others to commend the outgoing Minister for Justice, the Attorney General and the Minister for Justice for presenting this very important amendment. Mr. Speaker, as you know, the judiciary is a creature of this Parliament.
And we've created an institution which is made up of very, very special people who, if you're a Christian, you know that there's God. And below God are these people who sit and pass judgment on people who cannot, among themselves, agree on disputes. So the judiciary, Mr. Speaker, occupies a very, very special place in every society, and more so in a country like Papua New Guinea, where we call ourselves a country which is comprised of so many different ethnic groups and languages. And Mr. Speaker, if one were to take the example of the older countries like in Europe, like England or Germany, in Germany, Mr. Speaker, they only speak one language, which is German language. And in France, they speak one language, which is French. Whereas in Papua New Guinea, we speak many different languages. So if you were to take an example of a country in Europe which speaks one language and maybe one custom, then we have so many different countries in one country called Papua New Guinea. So it is very important, and as many of the speakers have spoken, very important that we discharge our obligation to make sure that the rule of law is always upheld. And in the case of the judiciary, Mr. Speaker, we in this House have never let the judiciary down, Mr. Speaker. As we all know, we have allocated funding to make sure they have this very big, one of the best state-of-the-art courthouses in the region. We've made sure they are paid very well, rewarded handsomely for whatever they do. And we've made sure that they also serve beyond 60 years, so that they continue to deliver for us. But, Mr. Speaker, having said that, they have a very special obligation to serve our country, especially a country of this size with so many different ethnic groups and languages. And, Mr. Speaker, in my experience as a former practicing lawyer, in those days, there was certainty. When two parties appeared before the court, one would predict with certainty the outcome of litigation. Mr. Speaker, unfortunately, over the last 25 years, it has become very, very difficult even to predict with certainty the obvious case where the evidence is clear and the law is clear. Yet, for reasons known only to some of the judges, they deviate from the very rules they swore, holding the Bible, and they deliver judgments which are we just do not make any sense, hard to believe. Now, that calls for what the member for Wabaka has said, for us to make sure that the Judicial and Legal Service Commission, which exists, also monitors the performance of the judges. Mr. Speaker, there have been instances where one or two judges have, after having heard evidence from both sides, sat on judgments for more than 4 years, especially in criminal cases. In Agen, we had a case involving 4 poor prisoners who, after their case had been heard, waited in Baishu for 4 years to be told what their fate would be. Unfortunately, one of the judges who sat on the case passed away before delivering judgment. Is that called justice? So, Mr. Speaker, these special people who we make sure we reward them properly and make sure they serve beyond 60 years have an important obligation to make sure they deliver. They are rewarded handsomely. And, Mr. Speaker, some of them even can't write good judgments. You can't even understand the English, so you wonder how they were able to be selected in the first place. So after having increased their benefits, after having increased their age of service, after having helped them with the magnificent courthouse, they have an overriding obligation to serve our people, mainly the grassroots. And as we know, Mr. Speaker, for litigants who come to court, especially at the land court or even the village court, even the district court or the national court, they expect justice. And when they are not given justice, they do not then respect the rule of law. They lose the respect, and particularly in a case in a country like Papua New Guinea, the rule of law is so very important. So I hope, Mr. Speaker, that after we've done our part, they do their bit. And, Mr. Speaker, I would suggest that the Judicial and Legal Service Commission, the composition and the makeup be reviewed so that we introduce a system where the performance of the judges are monitored very, very closely to ensure that they deliver judgment, they perform and they do what they're paid to do. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The question is that the question be now put. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The question is that the bill be now read a second time. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Mr. Clerk.
Second reading. A bill for an aid to implement Section 155, composition of the Higher Court of Justice of the Constitution by providing for the determination of number of judges of the Higher Court of Justice, and B, repeal and replace the National Court Number of Judges Act 1984.
Honourable members, I have to announce that I have received a message from His Excellency the Governor General dated 20 November 2025 recommending the expenditure of public monies in accordance with Section 210 of the Constitution insofar as the bill relates to and provides for such expenditure. Mr. Minister for Justice and Attorney General.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I ask leave of the Parliament to move the third reading forthwith.
Is leave granted? Leave granted. Mr. Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the bill now read a third time.
The question is that the question be now put. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The question is that the bill be now read a third time. In accordance with constitutional requirements, this bill must be passed by an absolute majority of 60 members. Clerk, please ring the bell. Close the doors. The question is that the bill be now read a third time. Would those in favor please stand? Those against, please stand. The results of the vote, the ayes 84 and the noes 0. Mr. Clark.
Third reading. A bill for an act A to implement Section 155, composition of the Higher Court of Justice of the Constitution by providing for the determination of number of judges of the Higher Court of Justice, and B, repeal and replace the National Court Number of Judges Act 1984.
Mr. Clark.
Notice number 190, Minister for Justice and Attorney General.
Mr. Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I present the bill, Court of Appeal Bill 2025.
Mr. Clark.
First reading, a bill for an act A to provide for the composition of the Court of Appeals, and B, to distinguish the appellate function of the Court of Appeal and Supreme Court, and C, to establish administrative procedures for the jurisdiction of the Court of Appeals and for related purposes.
Mr. Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the bill be now read a second time.
You may make your speech, Mr. Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker and members of this Honourable House, it gives me a great pleasure to introduce the Court of Appeal Bill 2025. This bill ensues from the constitutional amendment restructure of Higher Court of Justice, Law 2023. Mr. Speaker, this bill is designed to, one, provide for the composition of the Court of Appeal, and two, distinguish the appellant functions of the Court of Appeal and Supreme Court, and three, establish administrative procedures, processes for the jurisdiction of the Court of Appeal. Mr. Speaker, this bill is designed to provide the framework for the operation of the new Court of Appeal and to set out the procedures of appeal from the National Court. Mr. Speaker, the Court of Appeal will be responsible for hearing appeals from judgments of the National Court. All appeals are intended to be by way of re-hearing. Mr. Speaker, the exceptional circumstances and the proposed Court of Appeal bill enables civil proceedings to be transferred from the National Court to the Court of Appeal. Mr. Speaker, the proposed appeal bill enables the Court of Appeal to hear appeals against the judgments of the National Court on appeal from the District Court. Mr. Speaker, nothing in this Court of Appeal bill will affect any decisions done by the relevant Court on Appeals that fall under the jurisdiction of the Court of Appeal. This means that any prior matter dealt by the National Court or Supreme Court which would now come under the jurisdiction of the Court of Appeal will remain valid. Mr. Speaker, the new structure of the High Courts of Justice through the Court of Appeal bill is necessary to enhance the efficiency and effectiveness of the court and the system in which they operate to make it more responsive to the increasing number of cases being brought for by deliberation and redress. Mr. Speaker, with that, I hereby commend this bill to this Honourable House. Thank you.
Honourable Member of Lucina Yangumul.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Again, I join those who have commended the Attorney General for the exemplary work that he's done with all this series of constitutional amendments and now the legislations, both amendments and new legislations, to bring about the court reform that will expedite, make our judicial system a lot more effective. So we give a lot of credit to we commend the Attorney General for his leadership. We extend and to his team who have supported him behind the scenes, and also to the Chief Justice and the judges who've also worked behind the Attorney General to make sure he delivers all this series of constitutional and legislative amendments and new bills. Amongst the three court systems that we're going to have, National Court and the Supreme Court will be a continuation of the pre-existing jurisdictions, except that their roles and functions will be reshaped a little bit. The new court system is going to be this Court of Appeal. That's going to be amongst the three. That's the new court, whose jurisdiction has to be defined very carefully. So the bill, on my quick perusal, is fine, Mr. Speaker. There's just one short comment I want to make about Section 8, and perhaps the Attorney General can explain to me later in a private conversation the rationale behind the shape and form of Section 8. But that's the criteria relating to leave to appeal from the National Court up to the Court of Appeal. Traditionally, Mr. Speaker, the criteria has been this. You can appeal from the National Court to the Supreme Court. That's in the old model. You can appeal directly to the Supreme Court on a question of fact, on a question of law, on a question of mixed fact and law. Those are three kinds of grounds upon which you can appeal. And the rules, the criteria set down to help screen the leave application usually say questions of fact will be by leave of court. So you got to get leave before you apply, you appeal. On questions of mixed fact and law, you've got to get leave as well. You've got to apply separately, get the leave first, then you file your actual appeal. It's a two-step process. Whereas on questions of fact alone, you appeal as of right. So you don't need to apply for leave. Those were the established criteria. So judges and lawyers, when deciding whether to appeal or not, they look to see whether they satisfy those tests, whether it's a question of fact, mixed fact and law, or question of law. That's the criteria they look at. And all the court precedents that you look at will discuss that criteria. Now, I look at Section 8, and none of that criteria is captured in Section 8. There might be some pretty good reasons for it. So the Attorney General, maybe in his reply, or maybe if not, sometimes later, explained to us why they omitted that traditional criteria. Question of law as of right, but on question of fact or mixed fact and law, by leave of court. Those criteria are not built into to be a part of Section 8. What we have in Section 8, subsection 2, are totally new criteria, on my understanding of what used to be the state of the law. So some new definitions have to be developed by the courts around when you apply any one of those 5 grounds there, A, B, C, or 4, A, B, C, and D, when you can be able to appeal from a decision of the National Court. So except for that reservation about my lack of understanding as to the background why the appeal on matters of fact, mixed fact and law, and on law alone have been excluded as a criteria, the bill, in my own personal opinion, is in good shape, and we support that bill. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The question is that the question be now put. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The question is that the bill be now read a second time. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Mr. Clerk.
Second reading. A bill for an act, A, to provide for the composition of the Court of Appeals, and B, to distinguish the appellate function of the Court of Appeals and the Supreme Court, and C, to establish the administrative process for the jurisdiction of the Court of Appeals and for related purposes.
Honourable members, I have to announce that I have received a message from His Excellency the Governor General dated 27th November 2025, recommending the expenditure of public monies in accordance with Section 210 of the Constitution, insofar as the bill relates to and provides for such expenditure. Mr. Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I ask the leave of the Parliament to move the third reading forthwith.
Is leave granted? Leave granted. Mr. Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the bill is now read a third time.
The question is that the question be now put. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The question is that the bill be now read a third time. In accordance with constitutional requirements, this bill must be passed by an absolute majority of 60 members. Clerk, please ring the bells. The doors. The question is that the bill be now read at third time. Would those in favor please stand? Would those against please stand? The results of the vote, the ayes 83 and the noes 0. Mr. Clerk.
Third reading. A bill for an act, A, to provide for the composition of the Court of Appeal, and B, to distinguish the appellate function of the Court of Appeal and the Supreme Court, and C, to establish an administrative process of the jurisdiction of the Court of Appeal and for related purposes.
Mr. Clerk.
Notice number 191, Minister for Justice and Attorney General.
Mr. Minister for Justice and Attorney General.
Mr. Speaker, I present a Criminal Appeal Procedure Bill 2025.
Mr. Clerk.
First reading. A bill for an act A to establish. A bill for an act A to establish the Court of Appeal procedures in relation to criminal matters of the Court of Appeal. B, to repeal provisions relating to criminal matters under Subdivision 3 of Part Roman 3 of the Supreme Court Act, Chapter 37, additional powers relating to appeals in the criminal cases and for related purposes.
Minister for Attorney and for Justice and Attorney General.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the bill be now read a second time. Speaker. Mr. Speaker and members of this Honourable House, it gives me once again great pleasure to introduce the Criminal Appeal Procedure Bill 2025. This bill ensues from the constitutional amendment restructure of the High Court of Justice, Law 2023. Mr. Speaker, this bill is designed to, 1, establish the appeal procedure in relation to criminal matters of the Court of Appeal, and 2, repeal provisions relating to criminal matters under Division 3 of Part 3 of the Supreme Court Act, Chapter 37, and 3, to enable a smooth transition of the criminal appeal matters dealt by the National Court and the Supreme Court to continue to be dealt under this bill. Mr. Speaker, Criminal Appeal Procedure Bill aims to consolidate the procedures for appeals in criminal matters in one bill and to provide for appeals to the Court of Appeal by right and by leave only to the Supreme Court. This involves appealing the procedural provisions currently relating to the appeal of criminal matters in Division 3 of Part 3 of the Supreme Court Act, Chapter 37, and inserting them with some modifications into the new bill. Mr. Speaker, nothing in this bill will affect any decisions done regarding a criminal appeal that fall under this law. This means if a criminal appeal matter is currently before the Supreme Court may continue to deal with it under this bill. A decision made by the Supreme Court will be final and will not be appealed, I guess, because of the introduction of the Court of Appeal. Also, appeal, I guess, the decision of the National Court may continue to be heard by the Supreme Court unless the Supreme Court transfers the matters to the Court of Appeal. Mr. Speaker, the new structure of the High Courts of Justice through the Criminal Appeal Procedure Bill is necessary to enhance the efficiency and effectiveness of the court and the system in which they operate to make it more responsive to the increasing number of cases being brought for deliberation and redress. With this, Mr. Speaker, I commend this bill to this House, Honourable House. Thank you.
The question is that the question be now put. Those in favour say aye. Aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The question is that the bill be now read a second time. Those in favour say aye. Aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Mr. Clerk.
Second reading. A bill for an act A, to establish the appeal procedure in relation to the criminal matters of the Appeal Court. B, to repeal provisions relating to criminal matters under subdivision 3 of Part Roman 3 of the Supreme Court Act, Chapter 37, additional provisions relating to appeals in criminal cases.
Honourable members, I have to announce that I have received a message from His Excellency the Governor General dated 12 March 2026 recommending the expenditure of public monies in accordance with Section 210 of the Constitution insofar as the bill relates to and provides for such expenditure. Minister for Justice and Attorney General.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I ask the leave of Parliament to move the third reading forthwith.
Is leave granted? Leave granted. Mr. Minister for Justice and Attorney General.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the bill be now read a third time.
The question is that the question be now put. Those in favour say aye. Aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The question is that the bill be now read a third time. In accordance with constitutional requirements, this bill must be passed by an absolute majority of 60 members. Clerk, please ring the bells. Close the doors. The question is that the bill be now read a third time. Would those in favor please stand? Those against, please stand. Honourable members, the result of the vote, the ayes 82 and the noes 0. Mr. Clark.
Third reading, a bill for an act, A, to establish the appeal procedure in relation to criminal matters of the Court of Appeal. B, to repeal provisions relating to criminal matters under Subdivision 3 of Part Roman 3 of the Supreme Court Act, Chapter 37, additional provisions relating to appeals in criminal cases. and for related purposes.
Mr. Clerk.
Notice number 192, Minister for Justice and Attorney General.
Mr. Speaker, I present the Supreme Court Act Amendment Bill 2025.
Mr. Clerk.
First reading, a bill for an act to amend the Supreme Court Act Chapter 37 to enhance the Supreme Court's powers, functions, and responsibilities into the three-tier court system and for related purposes.
Mr. Minister for Justice and Attorney General.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the bill be now read the second time.
Make your speech.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker and members of this Honourable House, it gives me great pleasure to introduce once again the Supreme Court Act, a Supreme Court Amendment Bill 2025. This bill ensures from the constitutional amendment restructure of the Higher Court of Justice law in 2023. Mr. Speaker, this bill is designed to amend the Supreme Court Act, Chapter 37, to enhance the Supreme Court's powers and functions and responsibilities into the three-tier court system. Mr. Speaker, establishment of a Court of Appeal within the Higher Court of Justice necessitates the Supreme Court Amendment Bill This is because the appellant responsibilities currently held by the Supreme Court will now be transferred to the new Court of Appeal. Mr. Speaker, as a result of the establishment of the Court of Appeal, this bill aims to establish a clear framework for the separation of functions between the Supreme Court, the Court of the National Court, and the new Court of Appeal. The restructure changes now how appeals are handled by the Supreme Court. Mr. Speaker, this means that appeals to the Supreme Court will only proceed by leave of Supreme Court and no longer by right. Mr. Speaker, furthermore, all appeals to the Supreme Court will proceed by way of re-hearing. Mr. Speaker, as a result of the restructure, the Supreme Court jurisdiction will be restricted to constitutional references and other complex appeal cases deemed necessary for review. With this, I commend this bill to this Honourable House. Thank you.
The question is that the question be now put. Those in favour say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The question is that the bill be now read a second time. Those in favour say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Minister for Justice and Attorney General. Oh, Mr. Clark, sorry.
Second reading, a bill for an act to amend the Supreme Court Act Chapter 37 to enhance the Supreme Court's powers, functions and responsibilities into the three-tier court system and for related purposes.
Mr. Minister for Justice and Attorney General.
Mr. Speaker, I ask leave of Parliament to move the third reading forthwith.
Is leave granted? Leave granted. Minister for Justice and Attorney General.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the bill be now read the third time.
Honourable Member for Sinasina Yangabul.
I continue to commend the Attorney General for the continued good work he's doing. The bill is good substantially, but there's one minor issue that I just want to flag so that he can also take into account. And it's this, the newly constituted Supreme Court will have two sources of jurisdiction. Number one is by appeal from the Court of Appeal below, which this bill caters for. The other pathway is the original jurisdiction that the Supreme Court has to interpret constitutional questions by virtue of the empowerment given to it directly from the Constitution. That's the second source of jurisdiction that the Supreme Court will have. So whilst this bill set down some rules and procedures for how the appeal processes will deal with, it's silent about how it's going to deal with its constitutional jurisdiction. So that's an area that needs some clarity so that when the Supreme Court is sitting there, they have proper details of how they're going to process a Supreme Court reference, which is through a separate pathway, and process an appeal, which is also from another separate pathway. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The question is that the question be now put. Those in favour say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The question is that the bill be now read a third time. Those in favour say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Mr. Clerk.
Third reading. A bill for an act to amend the Supreme Court Act Chapter 37 to enhance the Supreme Court's powers, functions, and responsibilities into the three-tier court system and for related purposes.
Mr. Clerk.
Notice number 193, Minister for Justice and Attorney General.
Mr. Minister for Petroleum in standing for Minister for Justice.
Mr. Speaker, I present the National Court Bill 2025, third reading.
Mr. Clerk.
First reading. A bill for an act A to implement subdivision Roman 6.5.d, National Court of Justice of the Constitution, and B, to provide for the incorporation of the National Court into three-tier court system consisting of the Supreme Court, the National Court, the Court of Appeal, and the National Court, and C, to establish practice and procedures for the National Court, and D, to repeal and replace the National Court Act Chapter 38 and for related purposes.
Minister for Justice and Attorney General.
Mr. Speaker, President, Mr. Speaker, I move that the bill be now read a second time.
Make your speech.
Mr. Speaker and the honourable members of this House, it gives me once again a great pleasure to introduce the National Court Amendment Bill 2025. This bill ensures ensues from the constitutional amendment restructure of the Higher Court of Justice, Law 2023. Mr. Speaker, this bill is designed to amend the National Court Act 1975 to 1. Align with the creation of the Court of Appeal and clarify the judicial roles, and 3. Streamline the administrative processes within the Treaty Court framework. Mr. Speaker, changes to the functions of the Supreme Court will leave implications to the National Court. As such, the National Court Amendment Bill intends to incorporate the National Court into the newly established Treaty Court system, consisting of the Supreme Court, the Court of Appeal, and the National Court. Mr. Speaker, by implementing these changes, the bill seeks to enhance the efficiency and effectiveness of the National Court in its newly restructured context. Mr. Speaker, the amendments will ensure compliance with the constitutional provisions, address the evolving needs of the court, and facilitate a smooth transition to the new judicial structure. Mr. Speaker, legislative update is crucial for maintaining the integrity and the functionality of the judiciary in Papua New Guinea. Mr. Speaker, with this, I commend this bill to this Honourable House. Thank you.
The question is that the question be now put. Those in favour say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The question is that the bill be now read a second time. Those in favour say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Minister for Justice and Attorney General, Mr. Clark.
Second reading. A bill for an act, A, to implement subdivision 6.5.d, National Court of Justice of the Constitution, and B, to provide for the incorporation of the National Court into three-tier court system consisting of the Supreme Court, the Court of Appeal, and the National Court, and C, to establish practice and procedures for the National Court, and D, to repeal and replace the National Court Act Chapter 38 and for related purposes.
Minister for Justice. Leave granted. Mr. Minister for Justice and Attorney General.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the bill be read now the third time.
The question is that the question be now put. Those in favour say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The question is that the bill be now read a third time. Those in favour say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Mr. Clark.
Third reading. A bill for an act, A, to implement subdivision Roman 6.5.d, National Court of Justice of the Constitution, and B, to provide for the incorporation of the National Court into three-tier court system consisting of the Supreme Court, the Court of Appeal, and the National Court, and C, to establish practice and procedure for the National Court, and D, to repeal and replace National Court Act Chapter 38 and for related purposes.
Mr. Clark.
Notice number 194, Minister for Justice and Attorney General.
Minister for Justice and Attorney General.
Mr. Speaker, I present the Interpretation Amendment Bill 2025.
Mr. Clark.
First reading, a bill for an act to amend the Interpretation Act, Chapter 2.
Minister for Justice and Attorney General.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the bill be now read the second time.
Minister, you may make your speech.
Mr. Speaker, members of this Honourable House, it gives me great pleasure to introduce the Interpretation Amendment Bill 2025. This bill ensures from the constitutional amendment restructure of the Higher Court of Justice law in 2023. Mr. Speaker, this bill is designed to amend the Interpretation Act 1975 to ensure alignment with the constitutional amendment restructure of the High Court of Justice law 2023. Mr. Speaker, the creation of a three-tier court structure under the constitutional amendment restructure of the higher courts of justice in 2023 resulted in the introduction of new judicial positions, including the principal judge of the National Court, the President of the Appeal, and the judges of the Court of Appeal. Mr. Speaker, the role of the assistant judge, although was in existence before the National Law Amendment restructure of the High Courts of Justice in 2023, was underutilized. The Constitutional Law Amendment restructure of the High Courts of Justice 2023 and now redefines and enhances the role of assistant judge within the three-tier court system. Mr. Speaker, the proposed amendments to the Interpretation Act 1975 seek to ensure alignment between Section 3 of the Interpretation Act and the Constitutional Law Amendment restructure of the higher courts in 2023. Mr. Speaker, Section 3 of the Interpretation Act 1975 provide definitions to certain terms and places which may appear in any statutory provision. Mr. Speaker, the interpretation of Amendment Bill aims to refill the definition of judge, judge of the National Court and judge of the Supreme Court under Section 3 of the Interpretation Act, and replace them with new definitions which incorporate the judges' positions established by the Constitutional Law Amendment restructure of the Higher Court of Justice in 2023 and the positions of the Assistant Judge. Mr. Speaker, this bill also proposed to insert the definitions of higher courts of justice, judge of the Court of Appeal, and the Court of Appeal in Section 3 of the Interpretation Act. Mr. Speaker, with this, I once again commend this bill to this Honourable House.
The question is that the question be now put. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The question is that the bill be now read a second time. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Mr. Clerk.
Second reading, a bill for an act to amend the Interpretation Act, Chapter 2.
Minister for Justice and Attorney General.
Mr. Speaker, I have asked the Leader of the Parliament to move the third reading forthwith.
Is leave granted? Leave granted. Minister for Justice and Attorney General.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the bill now be read a third time.
The question is that the question be now put. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The question is that the bill be now read a third time. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Mr. Clerk.
Third reading, a bill for an act to amend the Interpretation Act, Chapter 2.
Thank you, Minister.
Leader of Parliament to express my sincere thanks to you and members of Parliament.
Is leave granted? Leave granted, Mr. Minister.
Thank you. Mr. Speaker, all the time I come and bother you, and I wanted to speak to you personally, but never mind, I come to the... Mr. Speaker, all the time I come and bother you with the clerk, staff, and now you're making a day, not for me, but a day for Papua New Guinea. Well, at the same time, I wanted to express my sincere thanks to the Prime Minister and the Deputy Prime Minister. All the time I bother you. Thank you very much. God bless you. And I also would like to thank the Leader of Government Business and the Deputy Leader of Government Business to have time for me and make it this is the Papua New Guinea can enjoy. I also wanted to express my sincere thanks, heartfelt thanks to go to the opposition. All the members, including the opposition leader, Deputy Opposition Leader, and the senior members of the rank and file, you stood up. You left the politics aside, and you stood up. This time we set a record for the interests of this country. With that, my saying, I also express my sincere thanks to the ministers and members of Parliament in the government side and the opposition side, and the shadow ministers and the committee chairmen and also governors. You all stood up in this occasion. Thank you very much. I want to sincerely thank you all that you're making Papua New Guinea once again. Our system must work. If it doesn't work, who's going to change? It is us. Now you're taking a step. We all taking a bold stand to change and make it work. Of course, legislations are no. Mr. Kerenga knows that legislations are not perfect, and the Deputy Opposition Leader knows that. We can also take it back to amend it, correct it as we go. With this, thank you all for making this time. You stood up for the country, and let God bless all of you. Thank you very much.
Leader of Government Business.
Mr. Speaker, I ask leave of Parliament to move motion without notice.
Is leave granted? Leave granted. Leader of Government Business.
Mr. Speaker, I move that in accordance with the Public Works Act, Mr. Anderson Mise, Mr. Casimiro Aya, and Mr. Gidron Maso Karipe be appointed members of the Permanent Parliamentary Committee on Public Works.
The question is that the motion be agreed to. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Leader of Government Business.
Mr. Speaker, before me make him last move or motion, me talk big thank you, Long Attorney General, Minister Pillar, for an amazing work that he's done for our country. The year of reset, and I appreciate both sides of the House sitting through. And we will have one more day for tomorrow. And so I appreciate all and everyone for their efforts today. Mr. Speaker, I move that Parliament do now adjourn until tomorrow, 10 o'clock a.m.
The motion is that the question is that the motion be agreed to. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Honourable members, Parliament is now adjourned to tomorrow, 10 o'clock in the morning.